Hello and welcome to News at 6. This is Rajya. Let's have a look at the top headlines. RJD Chief and former Bihar Chief Minister Prasad Yadav convicted in a fraud scam case to be lodged in Ranchi jail till quantum of punishment announced on January 3rd. Vice President Venkaiah visits Shirdi Sai Temple, says Sai Baba's life a glorious example of living in peace, asks people not to misunderstand the unifying principle of nationalism. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin holds talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Both sides discussed new areas of cooperation to strengthen bilateral trade and investment. And tragedy strikes Philippines in the form of tropical storm Tembin. Death toll crosses 130. Rescue and relief operations continue. A top story, a special CBI court on Saturday convicted former Bihar Chief Minister Prasad Yadav and 14 others in a fraud scam case relating to Devgarh Treasury. The court also acquitted 7 others, including another former Chief Minister, Jagannath Mishra. RJD Chief Prasad Yadav and other convicts were taken into custody immediately after the verdict was pronounced. They've been sent to Ranchi jail. The verdict is in a case pertaining to fraudulent withdrawal of rupees 89.27 lakh rupees from Devgarh Treasury between 1991 and 1994. A charge sheet was filed against 38 persons on October 27, 1997. 11 of them died, while 3 others turned approval and 2 others accused confessed and were convicted in 2006. Prasad Yadav faces 3 more cases related to fraud scam. The quantum of punishment will be pronounced on January 3rd.
जगन्नाथ मिश्रा, विद्यासागर निषाद समेत 7 लोगों को रिहा किया गया और लालू यादव समेत बाकी लोगों को दोषी करार दिया गया और इनको 3 जनवरी को सजा सुनाई जाएगी.
We feel that the Mahagathbandhan, the alliance between Congress party and Lalu Prasad Yadav's party is an alliance of corruption, of connivance and of cheating the people of India. And this has been very much clear from the verdict which has come out from the court.
जो एविडेंस हैं उसके आधार पर चलता है और कुछ लोग अपने को जो है न्याय से भी न्यायपालिका से भी ऊपर समझते हैं. जिस तरीके से इनका बयानबाजी हो रहा था लालू यादव जी का, ये अफसोस की बात है. तो इसलिए एक कोर्ट ने जब सेम केस में जो है उसी तरह के जो है फर्जरी में करप्शन में सजा दिया है, ये तो स्वाभाविक था कि दूसरा कोर्ट भी क्या कहते हैं कि देगा. तो जो कोर्ट का फैसला है उसको हम सब लोग स्वागत करते हैं.
चाईबासा में दोषी करार दिए जाने के बाद ये दूसरी अदालत है जिन्होंने उनको सजा सुनाई है और इसका आरजेडी की राजनीति पर, बिहार की राजनीति पर बहुत दूरगामी परिणाम होगा.
You know what is very surprising, that some of the important witness which we provided, their versions, their evidence had been set aside. That's why I said our repeated position is we believe in the judicial architecture of this country, and this is not the end of the road. This is just the beginning. And I assure you, the kind of evidences we have, we'll get redressal and a higher court. That's the legal issue.
The Enforcement Directorate has filed charge sheet against RJD Chief and former Bihar Chief Minister Prasad Yadav's daughter Misa Bharti in money laundering cases. The agency also named Bharti's husband Shailesh Kumar and several others in charge sheet, which is filed in a Delhi court. The charge sheet was filed before Special Judge N.K. Malhotra. The probe agency had earlier attached Delhi farmhouse in connection with this money laundering probe against Bharti and her husband. The latest charge sheet pertains to couple's alleged role in a firm, Messrs. Michelle Printers and Packers Private Limited, for allegedly violating Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Vice President Venkaiah was in Shirdi earlier today, where he visited Sai Temple. He said that core message of Sai Baba was to serve fellow human beings and help them overcome pain and suffering of any kind. He was addressing the second Sai Temple Summit in Shirdi on Saturday.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, who's on a 4-day visit to Hyderabad, Shirdi, Mumbai and Uvada, addressed the inaugural ceremony of the second Global Sai Temple Summit. He said that Shirdi Sai Baba's life is a glorious example of living in peace with the self and in harmony with others for the larger good.
We are really want to pay tributes to Sai Babaji. What is the best way of tribute? Yes, going and having darshan and then namaskara and then doing other pujas, fine. At the same time, you have to take care of other human beings. वंचित लोगों का, गरीब लोगों का, असहाय लोगों का, निसहाय लोगों का, उन लोगों के ऊपर सहानुभूति केवल दिखाना नहीं, उनका सेवा करे, उनका उत्थान करे, उनका भला करे, काम करे, ये हमारा कर्तव्य होना चाहिए. वही सही भक्ति होगा साईं जी का नाम पे हम लोग जो कर रहे.
The Vice President also said that nationality and nationalism are the instruments of larger unity and integration, uniting people by going beyond primary identities. He said, though we follow different idioms and words to practice religions, the supreme reality is the same for all.
The principle of nationalism is derived from this sense of unity of purpose and action. India is a larger collective and to be known as Indian. Bharat is going beyond the identity based on birth, caste, religion or region. But we are all one. This feeling has to be there. And we are all creatures of God. And we believe one God. Which God? Some may pray Rama, some may pray Krishna, some may pray Vinayaka, some may pray Sai Baba, some may pray Sai Ji. Alag alag. It is, that choice is there. That is the greatness and culture of this great land. We are very fortunate to born in this country.
Before addressing the summit, the Vice President also visited the Sai Temple and offered prayers. On his arrival in Shirdi, he was received by Maharashtra's Water Conservation Minister Professor Ram Shinde and members of the Sai Temple Trust. Rajkamal Rao's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Taking forward this mission to clean River Ganga at the earliest, the government has launched the Ganga Gram project. The project aims to transform 24 villages situated on the banks of Holy River into Ganga Grams, turning them into benchmark for cleanliness. Details in this report.
As part of its Clean Ganga mission named Namami Gange, the government launched the Ganga Gram project on Saturday. The project aims to bring about holistic development in villages situated on the banks of the river Ganga with active participation of the villagers.
जो आपके 4,500 गांव है, इन गांवों में से भी कोई गंदा पानी गांव का गंगा में न जाए, ये आप सब की और हमारी जिम्मेदारी है. उमा जी ने उस समय इसके ऊपर काफी काम किया है. गांव में विशिष्ट प्रकार के कुछ पेड़ लगाकर उस पानी को एक प्रकार से शुद्ध करने की नई टेक्नोलॉजी है, उसके बारे में काफी अध्ययन भी हुआ है. और आपके गांव में उस प्रकार की उचित टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग करके आप भी गंगा में जो प्रदूषित पानी जा रहा है उसको रोकने के काम में आपका भी सहयोग चाहिए.
The project envisages solid and liquid waste management, renovation of ponds and water resources, water conservation projects, organic farming, horticulture and promotion of medicinal plants.
गंगा के किनारे के जो गांव का किनारा है, गंगा की तरफ का जो गांव का हिस्सा है, उस हिस्से में अगर गंदगी जाती है तो वो गंगा में जा रही है. कोई नाला गिरता है तो वो गंगा में जा रहा है. वहाँ कोई स्नान करने का तीर्थ बना हुआ है तो लोग किसी पर्व पर इकट्ठे होते हैं तो पूरी गंदगी गंगा में जा रही है. उसको रोकने का उपाय अब गंगा किनारे के सरपंचों को करना है.
In August, the centre had declared all 4,470 villages on the banks of the river Ganga open defecation free. These villages are located in Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. Of these villages, the centre and the state governments identified 24 to be taken up under the pilot project to transform them into Ganga Grams. These villages will be converted into Ganga Grams by December 31st and will set the benchmark for cleanliness. With inputs from Mohammad Fateh Tipu, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, in a tragic incident in Rajasthan, at least 33 people were killed when a private bus fell into Banas River from nearly 100-foot-high bridge in Savai Madhopur. The incident took place early Saturday morning in Surwal police station area when the bus was on its way to Lalsot from Savai Madhopur. According to the police, the bus driver lost control of the vehicle before it fell into the river after breaking the railing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the incident and said his thoughts were with the families of the deceased. The Prime Minister's office also said Rajasthan government is closely monitoring the situation, including rescue operations and providing all possible assistance to those affected. Now here's a quick look at what else is making news across the country and nationwide. Vidicon Telecom has decided to put the case that filed against the government in the National Telecom Tribunal on fast track. The case was filed in 2015 seeking damages worth rupees 10,000 crores due to loss of business after Supreme Court cancelled 2 licenses of the company. The Apex Court had cancelled 21 licenses belonging to the company in its judgment of February 2012. Delhi Medical Council has issued notice to 9 doctors and 2 nurses of Max Hospital in Delhi's Shalimar Bagh in connection with the case of newborns being wrongly declared dead. The council has sought a reply within a fortnight in this regard. The hospital had resumed its operation earlier this week after it got relief from Court of Financial Commissioner on the cancellation of its license by Delhi government. Residents of Tamil Nadu's Rameshwaram town paid tributes to those killed in cyclonic storm in 1964. On the night of December 22, 1964, over 800 people were killed in the storm that struck the port town of Dhanushkodi near Rameshwaram. Local fishermen and storm survivors gathered at Disaster Memorial to pay homage by lighting candles and offering flowers to mark 53rd anniversary of that tragedy. Time for a very short break. More news on the other side.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
One of the most influential revolutionaries of Indian freedom struggle, Shaheed Bhagat Singh. Born into a Sikh family, patriotism flowed in his blood at the age of 13. When he formed Naujawan Bharat Sabha to spread the message of revolution in Punjab. In the wake of avenging Lala Lajpat Rai's death, Bhagat Singh and his associates coined the catchphrase Inqilab Zindabad. But towards the end of their rebellion, they had to pay a heavy price for their patriotism. Following the blasts inside the corridors of the assembly, both Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt courted arrest. Bhagat Singh was sent to the gallows in Lahore with his fellow comrades, after which he was cremated in Hussainiwala on the banks of Satluj.
On this edition of Policy Watch, we will take a look at the hits and misses in the Indian economy in 2017.
Constitutional approval of the GST and its implementation was definitely one of the major hits.
We continue to be very low on investment.
If you solve this NPA problem in the banks, that will certainly go a long way.
But the stock market's current performance is out of line with the reality.
For the country as a whole, achieving low inflation during this year was, I would say, a hit.
Ghata, one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. Surprised, but the air inside the ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature, earth, water, air, fire and space make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece, which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 6. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj met in New Delhi on Saturday to discuss trade, economic and cultural relations between the two countries. Both leaders reviewed progress of various working groups and subgroups under India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation. They also discussed new areas of cooperation that could strengthen bilateral trade and investment. The Russian leader also met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman.
आपने केवल रक्षा क्षेत्र में ही नहीं बल्कि परमाणु ऊर्जा, एरोस्पेस, रेलवे और संचार और संपर्क जैसे कई क्षेत्रों में व्यक्तिगत रूप से ध्यान दिया है, जिसके लिए मैं व्यक्तिगत रूप से आपकी बहुत-बहुत आभारी हूं, क्योंकि ये सभी क्षेत्र हमारे लिए बहुत महत्व रखते हैं। तेजी से विकास की ओर अग्रसर भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था और उसके अनुकूल ही बना हुआ व्यापार का वातावरण रूसी उद्यमियों के साथ मिलकर काम करने की बहुत तीव्र इच्छा रखता है।
The Pakistan government has requested an Islamabad court not to consider Mumbai attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed-backed Milli Muslim League's plea seeking registration as a political party. The government told the court that group would breed violence and extremism in politics. Early this month, Saeed confirmed that Jamaat-ud-Dawa would contest 2018 general elections under the banner of Milli Muslim League. The MML had challenged the court, the Pakistan Election Commission's order declining its registration as political party. In its written reply on MML's petition to Islamabad High Court, the Pakistan Interior Ministry said it opposed group's registration as political party as the group was an offshoot of proscribed entities. The government is also reported to have requested the court not to consider MML's plea and dismiss the petition. The JOD chief walked free on November 24th after Pakistan government decided against detaining him further in any other case. The detention was condemned both by India and US. With an aim to contain Pyongyang's nuclear ambitions, the United Nations Security Council unanimously placed new sanctions on the country for its November 29th intercontinental ballistic missile test. With new sanctions in place, North Korea will now have limited access to refined petroleum products, among other restrictions. US President Donald Trump has praised UN Security Council for imposing tough new sanctions on the country.
Imposing tough new sanctions on North Korea, the United Nations Security Council unanimously voted on Friday to curtail the country's nuclear ambitions. This is in response to Pyongyang's latest launch of a ballistic missile that it says is capable of reaching anywhere on the US mainland. China and Russia, North Korea's main trading partners, have called for the de-escalation of tensions in the Korean peninsula.
今天安理会通过的决议，表明了国际社会反对朝鲜发展核和弹道导弹能力，维护国际核不扩散体系的一致立场。
Стартующие с северокорейской территории баллистические ракеты подвергают серьезным рискам морские и авиационные перевозки в регионе, а также жизни рядовых граждан. Эта деятельность должна быть немедленно прекращена, а вместо нее...
As North Korea's missile capabilities advance, so too do the contempt and disregard they show for this Council. They have repeatedly and willfully rebuffed our unanimous will. They continue to act in brazen violation of their legal obligations, and they seek to undermine our systems and our collective values.
The US drafted resolution seeks to ban nearly 90% of the refined petroleum product exports to North Korea by capping them at 5 lakh barrels a year, and in a last-minute change demands the repatriation of North Koreans working abroad within 24 months. In a tweet, US President Donald Trump welcomed the resolution and said, "The vote proved that the world wants peace, not death." The US ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, said the sanctions sent an unambiguous message to Pyongyang that further defiance will invite further punishment and isolation. North Korea is already subject to a raft of sanctions from the US, UN and the EU.
Today, we cut deeper. After North Korea's September nuclear test, this council capped refined petroleum exports into North Korea. Today's resolution achieves an 89% total reduction of the Kim regime's ability to import gasoline, diesel, and other refined products. And should the North Korean regime conduct another nuclear or ballistic missile test, this resolution commits the Security Council to take even further action. It sends the unambiguous message to Pyongyang that further defiance will invite further punishment and isolation.
Despite of international pressure, Pyongyang has continued to pursue its nuclear ambitions. On 14th May 2017, North Korea tested what it said was a newly developed ballistic rocket capable of carrying a large nuclear warhead. On July 4th, North Korea claimed it had carried out its first successful test of an intercontinental ballistic missile. On 3rd September, North Korea said it had tested a hydrogen bomb that could be miniaturized and loaded on a long-range missile. On November 29th, it successfully tested a new intercontinental ballistic missile in a breakthrough that puts the US mainland within range of its nuclear weapons, whose warheads could withstand re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere. However, North Korea took a fresh dig at the latest sanctions, saying they will only make it accelerate its nuclear program. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Here are some more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. The death toll from Tropical Storm Temin that struck southern parts of the Philippines has risen to 133. This after rescuers retrieved 36 more bodies from Salok River in Mindanao Islands. According to Philippines Weather Service, the storm is expected to hit the tip of western island of Palawan later tonight. The California wildfire has become the biggest in state's history, killing 2 people in 15 days. The fire has seared its way through cities and towns of Los Angeles. The Thomas fire took only 2.5 weeks to burn its way into history books, destroying over 700 homes. The fire in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties had burned 427 square miles of coastal foothills and national forests. Around 18,000 homes and other buildings are the risk in the province. The man accused of plowing car into pedestrian on a busy street in Melbourne this week was charged with 8 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of endangering life. At least 18 people were injured in the crash. According to police, the suspect had mental health problems. Japan's Emperor Akihito marked his 84th birthday on Saturday. Around 10,000 people gathered at Imperial Palace grounds to wish the emperor by waving flags and cheering. Akihito will step down in April 2019 after spending 3 decades on the country's throne. The magnificent winter scenery greeted people across China on winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. The combination of temperature and warm river created a misty and mysterious wonderland for visitors in Chiangmai Mountains. Many tourists visited the Hakao waterfalls in northwest China's Shanxi province to celebrate the day. We'll leave with some serene visuals from year's winter solstice.